Welcome into Texas at the Voice of College Football. I am your host, Josh. I am joined today by Gerald. Today, we're going to cover some breaking news, some things that are hopping around the 40 acres, including talk about Sam Houston, put a bit of a bow on the UTEP game. Got to talk about Arch Manning's comments, and of course, the AP poll. All that said, Gerald, busy day today. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I had to rush in coaching some flag football this year, 8-year-olds. We did a full offensive install in 30 minutes, which was great. It's 4 plays, so we did okay.
What
How are you,
position
brother?
did your son play?
So he's a center right now, offensive lineman. He's built like his dad,
Nice.
so
Let's
not much fruit falling far from the tree there.
Awesome. Well, I'm doing good. Usually it's B. Ross who's on, but he has some issues with his stomach, so we had to find a substitute today. So we got we got Gerald in for today. All right, I say we start off. We got to put an end to the UTEP game. Ugly game. Did not go the way we wanted to go. Arch Manning struggled. Everything about the offense was terrible. Gerald, go ahead and take the floor here. What are your final thoughts on the UTEP game? And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it just seems, I think as I look back at UTEP and like I kind of did a little rewatch this morning of it. And I think the thing that I really want to see out of Texas and the thing that we really need to see is I think Arch is just thinking too much. Like it looks like he is over processing, he's overthinking, he's kind of in his head way too much. And I don't know if it's something schematic. I don't know if it's him struggling with the need for rhythm. I know, Sark offenses require a lot of the quarterbacks, and I know Sark offenses require a lot of thought from the quarterback. And Arch really does seem to thrive when he's kind of in the flow and in the zone. I mean, some of his best possessions where fourth quarter Ohio State running hurry up, no huddle, just kind of run up to the line, quick reads, get the ball out fast. So I think that to me is the thing that like jumps off the page when you look at that UTEP game is that Arch was really in his own head. And I think Texas also struggled from the fact that they were on RB3, and you see. There's a reason why those guys are 3, 4, and 5 on the depth chart, right? They're not quite as polished as a CJ Baxter. They're not quite as patient as a Quintravian Wisner. And we saw some of that. James Simon left a lot of yards on the field with some reads that he had on some of the counters and some of the zone blocking. And he's a freshman, like he's 19, so you get that. I think the offense can get there, right? I think all the things that are wrong with the offense are correctable. Trey Wisner hopefully won't be hurt the whole year. We don't know what's going on with CJ Baxter, but I think if they get Trey Wisner back and if they can get Arch into a position where he's playing in the flow of the game, playing in the moment, that to me was the big issue against UTEP, and I think it showed.
Yeah, and in regards to CJ Baxter, I believe Sark came out and said it's a hamstring injury, and yep. I think it's something that he should be able to come back from at some point during SEC play. I was going to mention no Emmett Mosley. Talk about CJ Baxter going out as well. No DeAndre Moore. You're losing a lot of those vets, you could say, on that offense. And unfortunately, the only veteran that was really going was Jack Andrews, who is a transfer who came in late, by the way, and DJ Campbell, who I like DJ Campbell. Seems like a good kid, but I mean, the holding penalties and things of that nature, so that's that one. Defensively, you got a lot of veterans, but that doesn't help the offense too much out. So Arch Manning struggled in that game for sure. There's a lot to build off of it. My last question for you on the UTEP game, how much do you think the veteran or the lack of veterans actually affected Arch? Are you willing to put some of the blame for Arch's failures on that, or are you still like most of this is on Arch?
I think there's a little bit of both. I think Arch doesn't have a relationship. He doesn't have a guy yet, right? And when you see quarterbacks who thrive, they always seem to have a guy. I'm a little bit of an older vintage than you, Josh. So I was on campus during the Vince Young years, right? And Vince Young and David Thomas. Like when Vince Young didn't know where to go, David Thomas was the dude, right? And that to me is like what jumps to mind of a quarterback having a guy. And so I think when we think about what Arch Manning has, right, or doesn't have, he doesn't have his guy yet, right? We thought it might have been Ryan Wingo. Ryan Wingo hasn't really, he and Ryan Wingo haven't really hooked up yet. I think Jack Andrews could be that guy for him, but it just hasn't blossomed. So I think there's a little bit of blame to go around because also Arch is not throwing guys open. Arch is playing hesitant. And so some of that comes, building a relationship with a guy means you got to throw the damn ball sometimes, kid. So like there's 6 in one, half dozen in the other.
Yeah, I think Livingstone has sort of become that guy, but it's still they're still trying to figure things out. I think for you talk about Vince and that I think of McCoy and Shipley, right? I think of Whittington for a couple years there, just being that reliable guy.
Mm-hmm.
Arch is sort of struggling to find that guy right now. I 100% agree with you. I wish it was DeAndre Moore, but it's hard to build chemistry with a veteran like him when he's out missing games. And when he was playing, he wasn't terribly impactful. So I 100% agree with you. I think that's something that I talked about in past live streams. Like I wanted Arch to find that go-to guy. Maybe it's Livingstone. It seems like that's kind of where it's trending to go to. But if you want the highest upside guy, you got to get Wingo going. So I'm in agreement with you here. Let's go ahead and push forward to next week or this upcoming Saturday. We got Sam Houston University. I'm going to get this out the way. This team kind of stinks. They're not a very good team. Do you want me to go through the stats or do you want to go through them?
We can. There's not a lot to talk about. What are they giving up? It's not great, and they're giving up 38 points a game, almost 39 points a game, only scoring 21. And what's kind of like that Phil Longo spread is usually supposed to put up more than that. And you think about Sam Houston State. And like one of the things we have to the asterisk we have to talk about Sam Houston State is their coach from last year that took them to a 10-win season in a bowl is now coaching at Temple. And some of the key pieces from that team are also now at Temple, and Temple's 2-1. I actually, on my podcast this summer, I had a conversation with the person who runs Sam Houston State's NIL collective. And he was very upfront. Like, it's hard for G5 schools like us. Like, we can't financially compete when even schools like Temple get into the game. So it's a lot of what they did well last year is just not there anymore. They're also QB3 is going to be trotting out because the first two guys are injured. So it should be a name your score game for Texas on Saturday.
Yeah, you talk about a terrible defense. They rank 121st in opponents' points per game at 38.7. They give up 442 yards a game, and their red zone defense, it's 100%. Every team scores when they get to the red zone. And they have not been going up against these elite teams, Hawaii, Western Kentucky, and UNLV. So, look, if Texas struggles in this game, I don't know what to say. Yeah, it's done. The season's done. So this is a ultimate get-right game. They, like you said, they don't have a quarterback on the roster that's really worth anything. They have some, they got some players who can do a little bit of things, like Elijah Green can kind of go, but I don't know. I'm not generally too worried about this unit in totality. There again, you mentioned, is it Layden Locke who's starting this week?
Yeah, Layden Locke is going to be the guy.
Oh boy. Yeah, Layden Locke. Is he a freshman?
I think he is a freshman if memory serves.
Well, I wish him luck. I wish the entire Sam Houston team a little bit of luck here. I hope that, and I hate to say this, I hope that Texas, I hope they score 60. I mean, I hope this is a pissed off Texas team that has, just tired of the media dogging them, tired of, all the Texas channels getting onto Arch. I mean, like we have. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. So I hope that they stay off the media. They're not listening to it. But if they are listening to it, I hope it motivates them in the right way to put the beat down on a Sam Houston team that, simply put, should not be in the game by the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it should be a name your score kind of game for Texas. Like, they should be, Sark talked about it in his Monday press conference. They haven't earned the right to get some of the 2s and 3s regular reps. The 2s and 3s should play most of the second half, right? You get your 1s to come out first drive of the second half, and then we'll hand the ball off to Matthew Caldwell, whoever the next quarterback up is going to be. That's what this game should be. I won't reveal any names, but again, I was on campus back in the early 2004 to 2008. So when Texas was really buzzing, and when you hear the players talk to the media after these kinds of games, right? It's like, we treat every opponent with respect, and you got to take everybody seriously. And then you talk to them in class on Monday, honestly, we had bets going on how quickly we were going to get out of the game. That's how it should be in this kind of contest. And no shade to Sam Houston State. Again, they're 3 years into their FBS career. They lost their coach last year. They lost a bunch of their key players. This is kind of old like FBS schools in the G5 are going to look honestly like what old healthy college programs look like, where they have a bunch of young guys that struggle through a couple of years, and then their third year they have a really good year, and then they're probably back down, right? So like that's going to be something that we'll see. So Sam Houston State, it's not going to be great for them on Saturday.
Now, when we look forward into this game, obviously we can't predict the future. Which players outside of Arch Manning do you want to see take that big step forward this week? Because I have a handful. I'll let you go first, and then I'll talk about mine.
Yeah, I think the ones that I really want to see take a step forward, Ryan Wingo is number one on my list. Like and again, this is no shade at the guys at Sam Houston State, but there's probably not a guy on that roster that's worthy of holding his chin back, right? There's not a guy on that roster that's worthy of like, and it's just, that's the level of athlete. Like Ryan Wingo is a guy who should be a top 10 receiver in the country, should be a shoe-in for leaving early next year and be an early pick. He's going to run really fast at the combine. Like Ryan Wingo's a guy I need to see. And, I hope that late touchdown against UTEP was like the thing that we need, right? Sometimes you got to just break the seal. You got to see the ball going on a free throw, and then the lid comes off the basket. So like, I want to see Ryan Wingo get going. Also, this is not a player, but a unit. I want to see this offensive line dominate. Like there should not be any reason for the offensive line to not give 4 yards per rush at the minimum, right? At least 4 yards per rush. Like the running backs, whoever it is, whether it's Wisner, whether it's Simon, whether it's Clark, whether it's Gibson, whoever it is, they should not see a person for at least 4 yards. Like I need the offensive line to just bully some folks, because it's a size issue. It's a talent issue. Like that is the unit that I really, and going into the year, I was concerned about the offensive line, not from a talent perspective, but just it takes a while to gel. It's week 4. You should be gelling by now. And if you can't gel and get it done against this squad, Florida's going to be tough.
Oh, yeah. Well, you talk about run defense here, seeing if Texas can get their run game going. If there's one thing the Sam Houston defense is decent at, it is stuffing the run. Only they're holding their opponents to 3.8 yards per rush. So take that as you will. I don't take much from it because that's Hawaii, UNLV, and those teams, but they can do that. I'm in agreement with you. The entirety of the offensive line has to get going. They were, not being able to push it in at the 1 versus UTEP, that just can't happen. When you go up against Georgia, Florida's of the world, Oklahoma's of the world, come on, it's not even close in terms of just the general size. I'm gonna be a bit more specific here on the offensive line. I want to see whoever starts at center. I know Cole Hudson's dealing with a bit of an injury here. If it's Connor, if it's Daniel Cruz maybe, or somebody, I want to see whoever starts at center really dominate. Connor Stroh at guard, thought he looked generally good in week 1, but it feels like he's taking some steps back with his mobility issues. So I want to see him have a nice game here. He should dominate. Same with Brandon Baker. I need Brandon Baker to have a nice game out there too. I'll be specific in terms of a receiver here. I agree with Ryan Wingo. I want to see if DeAndre Moore can go. I want to see him get going. But I also want to see Ryan Niblett also out there on the field a little bit more. We've talked about this pretty consistently about the lack of explosive options in the receiving game outside of Wingo. And if you can't get the ball to Wingo, you need more explosive weapons. Parker Livingstone has been able to win deep occasionally, but he's not that explosive athlete. Right? Neither is Jack Andrews. If there is an explosive guy on the field that I want to see maybe get 3 catches on the day, it'd be cool to see Ryan Niblett make some plays. And lastly, I'll talk about Nick Townsend. I love that kid. I want to see Nick Townsend make some plays out there. Right now, I look at our tight end group, and I love Jack Andrews. I think Jordan Washington has a ton of potential, but it feels like it's not fully clicking quite yet. Nick Townsend is a freshman, a little bit younger, and I think he's right there. Go ahead.
No, I think one of the things with Washington is I wonder if he's still trying to figure out how to play with the extra weight, right? Because he put on 20-ish pounds in the offseason, so it might take some getting used to. And I love that you called out Ryan Niblett. One of the thing I'm banging the table on, standing on the table and screaming on, is the 2 groups that really Texas has a ton of questions on, which I think is that second cornerback spot and the wide receiver room. Texas needs a playmaker there. Ryan Niblett is 3rd on the depth chart in both of those rooms. So get the guy on the field. We've seen what he can do with the ball in his hands. again, this is dating myself. I go back to the Greg Davis bubble screens and just get the ball in Ryan Niblett's hands, because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to take him in a one-on-one against a cornerback or a safety, right? It's just how it works. So like, throw the ball to him in the flat, get him a wide receiver blocking for him, get him in a one-on-one, and see what happens, right? He is too good of an athlete, too explosive of an athlete to just be there to return kicks. Like, unless there's something majorly going on with his processing ability and his ability to read and play, which I don't think there is, like, then why is he not seeing the field more?
Now, we talked about the offense. What about the defense? What is a player or position group? Obviously, this defense has been killing it. More specifically, maybe some backups who you want to see get some reps out there. Who's the guy you're going to be keeping an eye on for this game?
Yeah, well, one, I really do want to see the edge group get going. I think they should be able to like just win like man to man. Like, it's going to be really vanilla in this unit, but they should be able to win vanilla. So any of the edges, again, Colin Simmons, Ethan Burke, Colton Vasek, whoever it might be. Zeno Umazulu is another guy that I think is a lot of Lance Jackson. I want to see get going. We talk about backups. He's a guy that, he showed up on campus early for the playoff run, and he didn't look like he was 17. He looked like a grown man. I just showed up and I was like, oh, that's what the dude looks like. That's a dude. He's just built different. In the secondary, I really would love to see Pete Kwiatkowski and his secondary group experiment with different alignments. I mean, maybe, maybe you can walk Michael Taft down to nickel and play, somebody else on the outside and give Jalen Gilbo a rest. Cause you've got like 4 or 5 guys at safety that can go. And so whether it's, Jordan Johnson-Rebel, whether it's, Michael Taft, whether it's Eddie Xavier Filsamy, Derek Williams, you've got like 4 or 5 guys that can play back there. And so it makes sense if you're struggling to, Jalen Gilbo honestly got beat a couple of times against UTEP, and that's not really something that can happen if you're looking at, being high level SEC play. So I would love to see them experiment with different position groupings there in the secondary.
My player, I want to keep an eye on Brad Spence. He's gotten limited playing time, but I've always, obviously, linebacker, I believe, was it from Arkansas he came from?
Mm-hmm.
I always kind of was questioning the decision to move Brad Spence to edge and then put Trey Moore as like a linebacker. And we've seen the good and bad of Trey Moore at linebacker. He's made a lot of plays out there. He's also gotten a lot of playing time too. Brad Spence, not as much. So I'm hoping to see a little bit more Brad Spence out there. Obviously, Colin Simmons, you're hoping he just has a field day out there. That's the objective here. I look at the numbers. Quarterback sack percentage for Sam Houston is 9.70%, which is 114th worst in college football. So these dudes give up sacks. I'm expecting some sacks to be played or to be made by Colin Simmons and Ethan Burke. But when we get to that third or fourth quarter, as we're starting to rotate more bodies in, let's see if Brad Spence can make some plays, because I think he's a very talented edge, or a very talented defensive player in general. I'm also keeping an eye on Ty Anthony Smith. I think the world of Ty Anthony Smith. I think this kid is a freak athlete. He's just a dog, right? You know what you're getting from Anthony Hill, the younger LaFau. You know what you're getting from those guys. Trey Moore is also making plays, but Ty Anthony Smith is, to me, that he's the guy next up next year that I am expecting a huge jump for. So I'm looking for him. And you talked about it. I'll stick with Jalen Gilbo. I'll be a little boring. I want to see him sort of. I don't know if he played bad necessarily last week, but I want to see him have, maybe a turnover, a couple of pass breakups. Just be yourself, play dominant, get comfortable. The main objective here, Texas will win this game. If they don't, the season's over. But Texas is going to win this game. I want to see this team get into a comfort, get into some rhythm on both sides of the football. And for a guy like Jalen Gilbo, who's, I think, played a lot of good football in his career, I want to see him really take that big step this game. So a lot to look forward to. Any last initial thoughts here on Sam Houston before we move on to our next subject?
I mean, again, Texas should be able to name their score in this one.
Yeah.
It's what the line is like 42 right now. So like, I think it seems like a big line, but Sam Houston cannot really score at this point, and I think Texas should be able to name its number. So hopefully this is a nice and relaxing Saturday evening.
Any score predictions, or are you going to hold off and wait?
I'll hold off on that. I'm not quite there yet.
I'm there. I like to play bold. I'm gonna go. And boy, if Texas offense does not get going, this will be a scary one. I'll say I think Texas offense gets going a little bit. I'll go 38-3. I don't know if they can score on us. I'll go 38-3. Maybe that's a little hopeful, but see, I just can't see the offense going from abysmal to scoring 50. I just can't see it. I know this defense sucks. Maybe Ryan Wingo runs 15 go routes and they just throw it up to him every play. Wouldn't be
I
mad
mean,
about it, but
and I think, when I looked at Sam Houston, like when you talk about the offense not being able to go, their leading runner is their quarterback who's injured. Like their leading rusher is a quarterback who's injured. Their leading receiver is their number 2 running back. So like the offense is just a mess. So I don't think that offense is gonna do much. I think I have it in my head now. It's like I've got it like probably 42-3. I think probably take the points, but I think it's probably gonna be a pretty big number.
Bryce has it 63-14. I would not. I don't think they could score 14 on our defense. I'll just put it that way. If our
14,
offense gets 63, cool.
I will say 14 against the threes even seems like a big number. Like it's just, I don't know.
What do you think is more likely? Texas scores more than 50 or Sam Houston scores more than 10?
I think probably Texas goes for more than 50. Really, I do. Like, and it sounds terrible. I'm not trying but Sam Houston State is on their 3rd string quarterback, who's a true friend. He's got 10 pass attempts this year. Like, I do not see them getting going at all. I just don't. It would boggle my mind if they could do that.
That would be something. We got one more. 44-10 from Hurts to win. I think that's pretty realistic. I like that one.
I think that's
not bad.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and
I said it. Take the points.
Yep. We're gonna go ahead and now talk. So, bunch of interviews going on. Arch Manning making some comments. He got asked about, where he's at mentally with his play right now. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is part of Arch Manning talking and part of Steve Sarkisian talking. And then afterwards, I'll get your thoughts on this, Gerald.
Arch, would you say what you're going through right now is more physical or mental?
Probably mental, to be honest. Like, I think I just need to go out there and play my game. I know the type of athlete and type of player I am. Just go cut it loose and have some fun, play ball.
And I think some of this is really good. Here's a guy who's had an awesome life. He's the way he's grown up, where he played, the school he went to, the people he's been surrounded by. But I think you learn a lot about yourself through adversity and overcoming adversity and getting on the other side of adversity. And so to have some of this adversity that he has right now, and when he gets on the other side of it, I think all of this is going to serve not only well for him, but well for us as a team.
Nah, I don't want to look too far into it. Arch's demeanor is a little, I don't know. It's a little weird. It's a little off right now. He seems very much in his own head. Maybe I'm just thinking too far into it.
No, I'm with you there. I mean, I've said it already. Like my biggest, this is all mental, because all of the throws that Arch is missing, all of the plays that he's leaving on the field, we've seen him do these things. Like I keep ragging. I go back and watch the Mississippi State game last year. Mississippi State was hot garbage water, but like we saw him throw with anticipation. We saw him throw guys open. We saw him play loose and play fast. Like the layups that he's missing it's very clearly a mental thing for me. And part of it is on Arch, part of it's on the coaches for getting him, into a position where he's comfortable and figuring out, how do we get him in rhythm? How do we get him going? What do we need to do? And again, I think the answer to that and the answer to like Texas's needs at wide receiver for explosive plays might be the same thing. I think Texas lost this game, but I think back to that OU game where Xavier Worthy took the opening pass on like a kind of wide receiver bubble. He took it, 75 yards for a touchdown. Like that's the kind of athlete that you've got in Ryan Niblett or Ryan Wingo, right? They maybe not be as top end fast as Xavier Worthy, but they're pretty darn close. Like they're doing pretty well for themselves. So like those are the types of plays that I think if we can get Arch going with those types of plays, seeing the ball cross the goal line, one that you threw, I think will go a lot for him, because he clearly is over processing. He's clearly, trying to make the perfect pass and not really trusting himself. Again, like think back to the interception he threw against UTEP. Like there were guys open and he passed up multiple open receivers to try to force one into the end zone, right? Like that to me is the part and parcel of like what the issue is. He's not trusting his training. He's not trusting his ability. He's kind of overthinking, over processing, getting inside his own head. And it's costing him. He's not able to throw with anticipation. He's not able to play loose and fluid. He's really again, it is a mental thing, and it's huge. I'm going to say this and then I'll pass it on to you. There was another quarterback at Texas that talked about mental, over processing, getting inside his own head. It was the last quarterback Texas had. Quinn Ewers hired a sports psychologist, like try to get himself out of his own head. So it's once is an accident, twice is a trend. It's like I'm wondering what it is about what Steve Sarkisian is asking of these kids who have all of the arm talent in the world. And Quinn was a different quarterback after the injuries, but like Quinn Ewers is still a talented kid. So like I'm wondering what it is about how he and AJ Milwee are coaching these guys that kind of take them from these confident, like big man on campus kind of guys to overthinking, over processing, getting inside your own head, and turning into your own worst enemy.
I 100% agree. I'll share my comments here in just a second, but I do want to answer this question from Hurts to Win. I'll let you answer this one, Gerald. When do you think he starts to play better, if ever?
Hopefully this week, man. This should be a get right game, right? This should be a get your swagger back kind of game. So hopefully this week is when it goes. I wonder how they handle him on the bye week is something I'm curious about. Like, do they let him kind of get away from it all? Do they let him go home for a weekend? Do they let him kind of go back and kind of, there's something to be said about going home and like sleeping in your own bed and like reconnecting with yourself. So I'm curious if they like let him kind of leave for a bit during the bye and maybe that, I don't think he's far from it. Once the seal is broken, I think the floodgates are going to really like open up because we've seen what Arch is like at the pinnacle. Like we've seen what he could do when he's at the height of his power. So ultimately, I think this week should be your get right game. Like again, this should be a name your score game. Art should not be in the game past the first couple of drives of the third quarter. Hopefully this week is my like fingers crossed moment.
Yeah, because if not, you got Florida, that defense is good. Oklahoma can play. Kentucky would probably be the next sort of quote unquote get right game. Same with Mississippi State, but those guys can play too. My thoughts on his comments, I wish I could come up here and say that the comments made me feel inspired and hopeful, but I don't really feel like they did. It still feels like Arch is confident in his ability, that he hasn't given up on himself necessarily, which is a good thing. But it's also one of those things where when he's admitting that it's a mental issue, getting out of your own head, that's a tough thing to do. I mean, that is a tough thing to do for a young developing quarterback that is in his what fifth or sixth ever starts. So it's a little bit makes me feel a little bit worried, but at the same time, I guess I'd rather it be a mental issue than a physical issue, or maybe I wouldn't actually. I think I might want the other way around. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Yeah, a physical issue, we can go under the knife and get that taken care of real quick, right? A mental issue takes a little bit more, and it can crop up. It's almost like I did some counseling for like I was a youth counselor for a while, and one of the things you always talk about with kids is like whether it's depression or doubt or whatever it is, it's like a ball in a box, and the ball is always going to be there, but as you like focus on other things and as you perform, the ball will shrink. And so you have to make sure that you make enough plays in a row where the ball shrinks, where it can't, touch the sides and take up all of the room. But the ball's always going to be there. And so that's the hard part with the mental issues is like, he has a couple of bad passes in a row and things get itchy and he starts to press again. So like, again, I want Texas to go a little bit more wide open, a little bit more hurry up, a little bit more, just like get him in the flow of the game. I keep coming back to this. Watch his body language after the scramble touchdown. Watch his body language after the scramble touchdown versus him coming off the field after a punt, right? The confidence, the swagger, his shoulders are back. He's got this smile. Like he's feeling himself after these scrambling touchdowns. He's not in his head. He is feeling it. He's in the moment. Like that's not what we're seeing when he's, battering Ryan Niblett's ankles with the football.
Yeah. And it's weird because you look back at all the other games he's played, Mississippi State, all the games, even the Texas A&M game, like, man, the confidence was just oozing off this guy. Like this was like, oh, we got a Manning with swag, but I mean, it's been anything but that since he's been here. I mean, even after, you talk about when he scores a touchdown, there's some confidence to him, but then it's like the very next possession, it's gone. It's weird. It's weird. I almost think, me and Brandon, we talk about what our opening script would be like. So he always talks about, try taking some shots deep to open up the secondary, then, try to run the football effectively. I'm under the impression now that, for Quinn, to get Quinn going, it was a lot of RPOs, quick game, screens, just get him some completions and then get him going. I kind of wonder if for Arch, it's run the football first and then see if you can get the passing game going. I almost wonder if it's just get him into the game, get him, feeling a shot, right? Get him going a little bit, get the blood pumping a little bit, and then see if you can get something else open. Because usually I think Arch or Sark is trying to take Arch similar to an approach he did with Quinn, where he's trying to get him some easy completions, but it's just not how Arch gets going. I almost wonder if it's just, hey, some sort of quarterback design run early and then a screen, an RPO, something easy, and then let's try to open up the offense a bit more.
Yeah, I think the wide receiver screen game is going to be like, and not just for his confidence, but like the confidence of the wide receivers as well.
Yeah.
Like letting Ryan Niblett get in space or letting Ryan Wingo get into space and just be like, oh yeah, I am that dude, right? I am the guy. Like let him get into space and make somebody miss. And then the wide receivers start to feel themselves a little bit. Cause like, I need a cocky wide receiver. I need a wide receiver that knows he is the biggest, baddest thing that has ever walked across the face of this planet. That I like, you think of all the greats, like Michael Irvin, just cocky, like Randy Moss, like all of the all-time greats. Like there are very few all-time great wide receivers. Exactly. Right. All-time greats that are just like, I know I'm going to beat the man across from me. And that's, I think, part of the issue in getting the rhythm down is like, I think, Arch is overthinking. I think Wingo's overthinking. He's not trusting it because he's had some drops where it's like the ball hits him in the hands. He's got 6-7 yards. So like, I wonder if it's a quick, out to one of those guys, get him into space, let him make somebody miss, get in the flow of the game, that quick game, some of those RPOs as well. I really, and I mentioned this, when Kansas was running kind of that like triple option, like spread triple option situation where your quarterback has a running, he can hand the ball off to the running back, he can run it or he can pass it, like those things where, I say Arch is processing too much, but, give Arch an opportunity to call his own number a couple of times and really get himself going.
Yeah. And when you do those sort of design plays, yes, you're thinking, but you're thinking so fast that you really don't have time to overthink, right? It's just I either hand it or I pass it or I run it, right? So I 100% agree with you. If I'm Sarkisian, I am dialing in a script of about 5 or 6 plays that I'm going to run no matter what, just to get him going and just rep those things out every single day of practice. Like if it's a design run on first down, a quick out on second down, a screen on third down, I don't care if it's a 3 and out, just get him going, get him some easy passes, get his blood pumping a little bit. Like those sort of things I think are things that he needs to see. Like you mentioned, it's like a good 3-point shooter, right? Once you see that ball go in the net, things start to open up. I hope that's the case for Arch because, man, if we can get Arch Manning to play like he did last year when he was just feeling himself, making all these plays with his legs, with his arm, this Texas team is dang good, especially on the defensive end. It's just we need the offense to go. Real quick, I do want to share this other quote that we had. This is on our Twitter, Texas Voice of College Football. He says, I know the type of player that I am. I know I'm going to play better, and we're going to be better as an offense. Any thoughts on that general quote from Arch Manning on his general confidence?
Yeah, I think it's fair, right? That speaks of a guy who knows it's a mental block, who knows it's like I need to get out of my own way. And I think the thing that like he needs to understand, I think the coaches need to get him to understand is like, you don't have to beat the entire world. Like we just need you not to suck, right? This defense is good enough where if you don't suck, we're going to win football games, right? We need you to turn in a B- performance at worst, right? If you can give us a B-, this defense will get us there, right? If you can give us 35 points as an offense, nobody's going to touch us all stinking year, right? There may be 2 or 3 teams that could even think about scoring that on this defense. So like, if he can give us, like, just don't suck, like, that's the only thing we need from him. Like that was why what Quinn, when Texas was humming last year, it's just as Quinn was like, I'm going to manage the game, right? I'm just not going to screw it up. I'm going to stay out of everybody's way. I'm going to get the ball to my playmakers. I'm not going to suck. And the defense will carry us. And the defense is that good this year. If Arch just doesn't suck, this could be a really good football team.
No, I agree. I was literally just going to talk about Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers last year, like, he wasn't incredible. No, he was fine. He was a game manager that rarely turned the ball over. That's what you need from Arch Manning. Don't turn the ball over. Make the easy throws, the screens, the underneaths, check the ball down, use your legs. And if we can just get Arch to play at a similar level to what Quinn was last year, then you also toss in the element of his legs. maybe Texas is a better team. But in order for him to be up to Quinn Ewers' par, you got to make the easy throws. And occasionally you got to make a play deep. Like that's what Quinn was doing last year. It was, dump offs, screens, get the ball to your playmakers. Occasionally he'll hit a deep crosser. Occasionally he'll try to make a deep shot to Matthew Golden. Let's see if Arch can get that way because, I think talent-wise, he's just as talented as any quarterback in college football. In fact, he might be one of the most talented quarterbacks in all of college football. He's a smart quarterback. He should be better than this. I'm in agreement with you. This quote I just shared made me feel a lot better than the other quote because the other quote was like almost him admitting to it. This other one was like, oh, I'm still confident in myself. Just because I have something, going on mentally, doesn't mean I suck. Doesn't mean I can still play, right? So
yeah,
this one made me feel a little bit better. The other one, though, I was like, oh, he's admitting to it.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. All right. Arch Manning, any last thoughts on this before we talk about the AP poll?
No, I think it's. I'm not trying to be too harsh on the coaching staff, but ultimately, like this is a coaching issue, right? If you've got this guy who is the all talent, all world kind of kid, and it's between the ears, like that's a lot of that falls on coaching and preparation. And I might feel differently if we didn't have on tape Quinn Ewers talking about like, I get inside my own head and I need to call, I needed to meet with a sports psychologist. Like it started, again, if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, walks like a duck, like sometimes it might be a duck, right? And so like, that's just something that seems to like be at the back of my head. It's like, I wonder what, Sark and AJ Millweir are needing to do with these guys.
All right. I'm going to pull up the updated AP 25 really quick. Let me see if I can find it. All right. Number 1 in the country, still Ohio State. Texas falls to number 8, only dropping 1. We'll start off with Texas since, of course, we are a Texas channel. Let's be honest. Does Texas deserve to be number 8? Let's just start off there.
If Texas wasn't a preseason number 1, I don't think they're inside the top 10 or 15 probably. They're probably, I wouldn't put them, and this hurts me to say, but like I wouldn't put them over A&M or Oklahoma or maybe Illinois because Illinois really hadn't played a ton, right? Like, but I think they're not better than any. At least based on what I've seen, I don't think they're a top 10 team or even a top 15 team for a lot of what we've seen.
Yeah, I was honestly, frankly, I was shocked when I saw the AP poll and we were still 8. I was like, man, A&M has a huge win over Notre Dame. Oklahoma, and they've looked great on offense. They play good defense too. So I was a little bit surprised we still are number 8. You look at Texas' resume, their resume is kind of banking on the fact that you kept a game close with Ohio State. Like that's Texas' resume right now, is that you lost to Ohio State by only 7. So I don't agree with that either. I would have a lot of teams over Texas right now, at least with the way Texas is playing. Outside of Texas, was there anything that kind of surprised you about the AP 25?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out. It's so early to like try to sort these things out. I'm curious to see what that top group, like I feel like we're still in like some tiers, and so I think there's probably something. We're starting conference play in 2 weeks. Like these things are going to shake themselves out pretty well. Clemson is another weird one because I think Clemson's still. They're still right there, like are they in the mix still, or do they fall out? I don't remember where they.
I think they just
finally fell out. Yeah. So like Clemson's one that like finally again. This just kind of proves the uselessness of preseason polls because there's no reason for Clemson, based on what we've seen from them, to have just now fallen out. There's no reason for Texas to still be in the top 10. Like that's my big overall thought on the AP poll. Like the writers that re-rank it every week based upon what we have, I think they're doing it right. Like it's just. Get rid of preseason polls, please.
Yeah, I don't know. I generally like them. I never have because I don't really take them too seriously. But I will say, I think it's fun for us as fans until you realize that the preseason AP poll actually does affect the in-season AP polls, right? Like there's a certain bias that falls into when you have a certain team ranked super high, and then you get to week 1 and they look terrible, but you're like, well, I have them number 1, so I got to keep them in my top 5 when they haven't played up to that level. Again, it's like, man, has Texas done anything this season to look like a top 10, top even 20 team in the country? Not really. They don't look very good. Same conversation, honestly, could be said about Penn State. Penn State's 3-0. They haven't really been dominating these teams though, and they're ranked number 2 in the entire nation, above LSU, who beat LSU. Who did they beat? Was it Notre Dame? No, that was Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Florida.
Yeah,
Florida. They beat Florida. But you got Miami, who did beat Notre Dame. Georgia beat Tennessee in Tennessee. Like those teams should all be above a Penn State. You know,
A&M beat Notre Dame.
A&M beat Notre Dame, and Oklahoma, they've looked really good so far this year. Credit to a Texas team or a Penn State team. So I generally do tend to agree with you on this one. I do want to give a shout out to a few teams here who are still making some noise. Utah at 16. I feel like they should be a lot higher. They are playing some excellent football. Texas Tech, to me, looks like one of the best in the Big 12 right now. Missouri, 3-0, playing good football. USC finally enters in. Notre Dame hanging on for dear life at 24, even though they're 0-2. Which I kind of understand. They played decent.
Yeah, Notre Dame is a couple of weird plays away from being like undefeated, right? Like that is just such a weird. There's a high level of variance with their with their season. Again, it's so some of it's just so weird. Utah was my dark horse to win the Big 12. I had them picked early in the season. Did Georgia Tech finally get ranked?
I think they did. I think I picked Kansas State to win it, and it's looking like a bad. Yeah, Georgia Tech's 18th overall.
Yeah, I don't know why Georgia Tech's another team that should be higher, right? Like they really should. They've got it figured out. I picked them to do in the ACC this year. They were my preseason pick.
You picked Georgia Tech to win the ACC?
I had them playing Clemson in the championship.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I really believe. I'm a Haynes King believer. I love that. He is a MF and FP. He's a MF and football player, man. I
played Haynes King my senior year of high school my junior year of high school in the playoffs. He beat us like 70-3.
How'd that go for you?
Not very well. I think he went to Longview, I want to say he went to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they were a dang good team. Some of the Texas opponents, Vanderbilt is now ranked 20th. We're going to see them in a few weeks. Georgia's 5th. Texas A&M is now 10th. Oklahoma is 11th. Florida is now out of the top 25 after TJ Lagway. So. After DJ Lagway threw 15 interceptions in one game. He still is. What are your general thoughts now? Obviously, Sam Houston this week. Then we get the critical bye week, which you talked about could be potentially a game changer for Arch Manning. What are your thoughts right now as we are about to enter into SEC play? What are your thoughts on the schedule and where are you at right now with what our SEC schedule looks like?
Yeah, there are only on the schedule, like when you look at it, probably 3 teams that like from a talent standpoint, should give Texas issues, right? When you think about the talent on the field, Oklahoma, Georgia, and probably Florida are those 3 teams. DJ Lagway has not been good. He's been pretty straight out bad. I think folks wanted to see a lot more from him. And so I still going to the Swamp is going to be tough, especially if you got a quarterback who's struggling mentally. So that's something to keep on track. Oklahoma has been a buzzsaw and they're doing to bad teams what they should do to bad teams. But I'm just still not sold on their running game because John Mateer, like your quarterback cannot be all of your run game. Because he's going to get hurt. I've called, and I mean this as a compliment, I've called him the Blake Bell of Kyler Murray's because he plays that like Kyler Murray kind of toddler running from his parents kind of game, but then he wants to put it like Kyler Murray would run out of balance. He's going to put a shoulder into somebody, right? And that's great, all well and good when you're built like Blake Bell, but he's not built like Blake Bell. So is he going to survive the season? I don't know, right? So like I'm still curious about. You put a good lick on him. We'll see how it goes. And then Georgia, I mean, as it stands right now, Georgia still owns Texas. So I can't say anything other than that. But, those are the 3 teams that, like, I still, we had them circled preseason. I don't think anything has changed in that aspect. I think Florida probably is now, it's not as daunting, but it's still going to the Swamp, with a quarterback who's struggling with his kind of mental game. Defense travels, though, thankfully. And DJ Lagway has been, he's thrown Florida out of multiple games at this point. So that should be a check in Texas's column.
Penn State Sports Talk says, we are 3-0, man. You better respect us. Listen, man, you beat Villanova, FIU, and Nevada. All right, let's chill out, man. Let's chill out.
Take it easy on Jeff Choate, man. Be nice to our guy.
Well, they're playing Oregon this week, so we'll know a lot about you here in a few days. He did say give CJ Baxter more playing time, coming off an injury. Now he's re-banged up. I don't know.
I need him healthy. His girlfriend won a national championship on a busted ACL. Like you got to be able to do that, man. Like you got like whatever she did, you need to do it. Yeah, his girlfriend was the third baseman on the national championship team. Played with a torn ACL.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to her. That is incredible. CJ Baxter has to get healthy first. Going back to the SEC schedule, though, I do agree with you. As we sit here today, prior to Florida, Sam Houston, prior to the bye week, I feel okay about Florida still because I just think our defense will destroy them. I think our defense is going to play lights out football. I'm not feeling great about the Oklahoma game. I know that they have some questions on the offensive line and the running game. John Mateer is a player. That dude can absolutely go. And I just don't know, at least from what I've seen from Arch, I don't know if Arch can go to the same level of Oklahoma. I feel good about Kentucky. I feel good about Mississippi State. I know Vanderbilt's ranked. They're a tough team. They were tough last year. I think we'll win that game. I'm not too concerned about them, but they will play us tough. But then you mentioned Georgia. Georgia's Georgia. They can score points. They can play defense. They just beat Tennessee in Tennessee in the checkerboard route that game. Arkansas will always be tough because Arkansas hates our guts and we don't care about them, but they just always show up to work on that day. And then A&M in Texas. Let me ask you this. If, let's say we win every game besides OU or Georgia, right? So what would that be? Like 9-1, 10-1 or whatever. Mm-hmm. If we're 10-1 and we're going to play Texas A&M, let's say A&M is also 10-1. How confident are you in that game? Seeing what you've seen now, let's say Arch plays a little bit better.
What A&M wants to do offensively, I think Texas's defense does pretty well, right? They're going to want to. I mean, they've got incredible talent at that wide receiver spot, but Texas is able to control the line of scrimmage. Texas is able to, even if they haven't gotten the sacks, Texas really, is able to create some havoc. I texted him. One of my best friends is an A&M grad, and I texted him. I was like, Chris Ash continuing to run zone or run man in the fourth quarter after what they've done to him is a fireable offense. Like, what the hell are you doing? I don't think Pete Kwiatkowski is going to give up 297,000 receiving yards to one guy. It's just not what Pete Kwiatkowski's defenses are built to do. Now, again, can the offense score enough points? It's honestly, I think it might be a reverse of the questions we had in last year's Texas A&M game, right? I think the Texas defense can hold it down, but can Texas's offense get it going? I think we've got, again, Marcel Reed has gotten hurt in 66% of A&M's games this year. So is he going to make it through the season healthy? Who knows?
They have a receiver, Mario Craver, who I say that they have a receiver. They have a potential Heisman candidate in Mario Craver. Last week, 7 catches for 207 yards. This is wild to me. Marcel Reed was 17 for 37, managed to get 360 yards on 17 receptions. That's insane work right there.
I want to know, Craver had massive yards after the catch on that.
Did.
Like, I want to know what that number was. Terry Bussey is also a guy who's a really massive threat for them.
Yes.
It just, that continues to highlight, like, I think the big knock on what the coaching staff did this offseason, because not only does Craver come into them, but they also have Concepcion who came in. Like, A&M is thriving with 2 transfer wide receivers. Mosley hasn't seen a single snap, and that's the only receiver that Texas wanted to shell out for. It's like, it's hard to watch.
Yeah, and what I find kind of weird is the change of mindset that Sarkisian has with the receivers, because we went from this receiving core of Worthy, Bond, Matthew Golden, guys who are about 5'11", maybe 6 foot, $180 maybe, who are speed demons, right? These guys they're shifty as hell. Now we got guys who more are technicians or more big physical guys. I wonder if maybe this was a change of mindset because we're now in the SEC and we want to play more of a physical brand of football, or I don't know, because I always felt like Texas offense was at its best when they had weapons on the outside that were shifty, athletic, can make plays when they get a screen, can win downfield off of pure speed. I don't know if it was a change in mindset, but that was something I was tracking throughout the offseason. I know we were going after Decorian Moore and some of the other guys, but we had Singleton out there who we were going for, but we didn't get. So I don't know. It's something to at least ponder about.
It's hard to compare like to a guy like Xavier Worthy because he is both of those things, right? He is a technician. Like I could like watching Xavier Worthy run a whip route. I need a cigarette after. Like it is the prettiest thing in the world, but he's also super fast. So like it's hard to compare to guys like him because he is like built in a lab to just do that. But it is something interesting to watch because I mean, you think about Devonta Smith, right? Devonta Smith is not that big-bodied guy. He is give me the ball underneath. I'm going to just outrun everybody. I'm faster than geometry. I don't care what angle you take. Like, that's the kind of guy that Sark has been really successful with. So it is something to watch. It's something to monitor for sure.
Yeah, you think of other guys too, like Henry Ruggs, even like Jerry Jeudy to a certain extent. Those sort of guys. I'm not sure if he worked with all those guys, but the Bama mindset, right? Of these more slender receivers, even like a Ryan Williams, Bama went after them. I mean, those were slender guys. I don't know, this whole mindset from Sarkisian of now going for more bigger statured 50-50 downhill guys. Of course, Ryan Wingo's an athletic freak, but he's not a skinny dude. That's a big dude. No. He's a big guy. I mean, he's not an Xavier Worthy when it comes to being slender. So I don't know. I mean, that's why I think we keep pressing the button of where's Ryan Niblett? Why isn't Niblett playing more? Because he's a bit more of the mold of what we've had in the past. And I think we want to see more of that, but we just don't have the personnel, at least not the top 10 or not the top tier talent personnel of that. Because like Parker Livingstone, good athlete. He's not running a 4.3 or a low 4.4. He's probably more of a 4.5 guy. Same. Wingo is the athletic freak, but he's just a different style. He's a different style a little bit. So I don't know. It's a little bit interesting just kind of thinking about that.
Yeah, it's something to keep an eye on for sure. It's definitely different.
And when we talked about A&M, they have those guys. They have the smaller 5'11", 5'10" athletic freaks. I mean, we're talking about Mario Craver, Concepcion, Terry Bussey, all these guys. They're not huge stature dudes. These guys are guys that can absolutely fly, and they're hard to bring down because they can fly. I just I wish that maybe Texas would have went after one guy. I know they tried with Decorian Moore, and they tried hard. Trust me, they tried for him, but boy, we would be looking quite nice. So outside of the Georgia game, if you had to rank our opponents, which one you're the most scared of, which one would it be right now? Not named Georgia. Not named Georgia.
I mean, probably Oklahoma at this point. I think what Oklahoma is able to do, I think they've got Brett Venables. They'll take him or leave him, but he's going to have a young quarterback seeing ghosts. Like he's going to really dial something up. And I think the same could be said about Mike Elko, but I think Oklahoma is just bigger in the mirror at this point. It's like the scheme that I think Venables is going to bring to that game. Plus, again, I think their offense, they're not going to be able to run the ball. I don't think, because again, Jaden Ott put him on the side of a milk carton. Where the heck is he? Like, I don't know what Oklahoma's run game is. And, if they're unable to run the ball, then I feel really confident about Pete Kwiatkowski figuring out how to shut down John Mateer. It's like, that's something to keep an eye on. But, of what Texas is struggling with right now, which is getting the quarterback going, and what Brent Venables like to do defensively, that is problematic for me.
I want to answer David's question. Did I don't believe Sark he didn't recruit Xavier Worthy. I don't believe he did. Because they were both brought in 2021, but Sark was just brought in. I don't think he recruited him.
It was a weird situation where I think Worthy was half a Tom Herman recruit, and I think Sark was actually recruiting him at Bama, and then the Michigan thing didn't work out. It was a weird credit situation, and so I think Sark I think he got there technically after Sark. So I think Sark did bring him in, but it's a weird situation.
Yeah, this is an interesting point, though, about Worthy, and I guess since then Wingo only being the legitimate burner. I mean, Sark has recruited transfers to Texas who are burners, but not. I'm trying to think back to the past few years. I mean, who would be the burner, quote unquote, that he's recruited? Niblett, obviously.
Yeah, I don't have the rankings memorized off the top of my head, but I'm trying to think. I mean, the guys that are in this class, Xavier Fills and me, he's not like, again, it's hard to say like he's not fast because he's fast, but
well, I'm thinking more receivers or tight ends.
Yeah.
I mean, Livingstone, no. Dalen McCutcheon, no. French, no. These guys are athletic, but they're not quote unquote.
I was thinking of Jamie French, not Xavier Fills. Thinking of Jamie.
Oh, okay.
I think Xavier Fills. That's my bad.
Khalid Lockett, bigger frame, 50-50 ball winner. I mean, these guys are. I put them in the category of like technicians. Technicians being like crafty route runners, guys that can win downfield, but aren't necessarily burning, dudes like Worthy was or Isaiah Bond was. I can't, like, off the top of my head, I just can't think of one that Sark has recruited these past few years. I mean, he's tried. It's not for a lack of trying. Again, DeCorian Moore, I think he went after Ryan Williams. I'm sure he did because KJ Lacey played with him, so I'm sure he did.
Yeah. I mean, Lockett was a track guy in high school. I think he has a.
Yeah, he can definitely go. But like a DeAndre Moore, he's not a burner. Yeah, he's not a burner. Adonai Mitchell, I guess he could burn. He ran like a 4.3 at the combine.
Now I'm pulling up recruiting rankings. Now you got me.
I know. Whether Texas has dominant burners at receiver or not, the talent Texas does have at wide receiver just needs to be maximized. I 100% agree. I agree with you completely. Regardless of their current record, Clemson has a dominant wide receiver room that the 2025 Texas receiver class is very similar to. Well, Clemson has Antonio Williams, who hasn't played a whole bunch. And that's been a big loss for them. They've also their offensive line hasn't developed much at all. Like, they're a very talented team, but that offensive line, Blake Miller specifically, hasn't developed fully out there. I think Xavier Worthy was actually Coach Sarkisian's first recruit. I don't know if he was fully recruited by him, but maybe he was like his first guy to buy into the system.
Yeah, it was a weird, because I'm like thinking, I'm trying to take myself back a couple of years. I've had multiple children since that recruiting class. So, like, I'm trying to think of, well, my wife had multiple children. I just happened to be around for it. Like, he was flirting with Texas a lot before signing day. Like, I'm trying to, like, the narrative was he was flirting with Texas a lot. It was a possible flip, stuck with Michigan, didn't qualify at Michigan. Or like he didn't qualify at Michigan. They had some issues with his financial aid. I don't remember what the actual, and then he ended up, like, coming down to Texas. So yeah, it was a weird, like, I think I remember counting it for Sark. Back in the day. Like, I remember it being like one of the first major moves that I think Sark made.
Well, I mean, you have to recruit him still. I mean, you still have to recruit the guy. To me, all of the 2025 receivers that committed to Texas are very similar to the receivers at Clemson. They are not burners, but their athleticism and length can establish separation for them. Yeah, in some ways. I mean, the 2025 receiver class, there's a lot of different prototypes there. Like, Dalen McCutcheon's a bit more of a slot guy. Jamie French can play on the outside, but I think he can also play a bit on the inside. And then Khalil Lockett's more that 50-50 ball winner on the outside. So they kind of have a nice little mix there, but they don't have that burner. And I think what they were trying to do was trying to go for the big three of DeCorian Moore as your speedster, Khalil Lockett 50-50, and Jamie your technician. Would have been nice, but they got two of the three. So it's,
It seemed like DeCorian Moore was looking for reasons not to come to Texas, and it is what it is. Like,
100%.
If you don't want to be here, you don't want to be here.
Yes. He had multiple times because he is initially committed to, what was it, LSU or something like that?
Yeah, committed to LSU, decommitted. Like, he was heavily rumored to Texas, goes on an LSU visit, commits while he's on the visit, decommits, ends up with Oregon. I'm not saying it was an NIL exclusive recruitment, but just thinking of who was tied to it and how it happened, there's just breadcrumbs to follow there.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking for every reason to not commit to Texas, which, that's that is what it is. That some people don't want to. Freddie DeBose last year, 6'1", 170. He was a bit of a burner. Freddie was one. I'm looking at 2023. I'm just looking at the receivers who we've recruited these past few years. It's very interesting. I'll say that. And in terms of like the Clemson conversation, do we have similar receivers to Clemson? It's hard to tell. I mean, obviously I don't have the Clemson depth chart put up in front of me, but when I look, Jonte Cook might have been. Jonte was a bit of a burner, but when he got to Texas, he never really fleshed out that speed department to his game. He was more of a technician at times, more of a underneath winner.
Yeah, it was. Jonte Cook is a cautionary tale in a lot of ways. I'm still a little torn up about that one.
I know. Yeah, Jonte. I mean, he's with Syracuse now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's with Syracuse. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the recruits, I mean, I don't see a ton of burners for the receiving corps, but it's very interesting to kind of look back these past few years, and you can sort of see like which players panned out and which ones didn't. But all in all, Texas is now heading to Sam Houston. We have a big week this week. We have a big bye week this week. We have a lot of things going on. One last note I do want to talk about. Diabell, unfortunately, is done for the season. He's not going to be playing his, I guess, senior year now for the team. He has some sort of minor procedure he has to get taken care of. I don't think it's anything too serious, but I don't believe they've disclosed exactly what the issue is. So, of course, we wish Dia nothing but the best. We just did on the channel, at least myself, I did a full Dia Bell recruiting spotlight video. So if you guys want to check that out, I'd really appreciate it. We go through some of his film, some of his pros, some of his cons. We go through an interview he did and just talk all things Dia Bell. So I'd appreciate it if you guys checked it out. Gerald, do you have anything you want to say before we close out today?
I think I've said it all, but again, like this should be a name your number week for Texas. It really should be. Like 42 points is a lot to cover, but I'm hoping they can go into the bye week feeling a little bit of swagger as they walk away.
100%. Well, everybody, we appreciate you guys for watching. Everyone enjoy the week. Enjoy Texas, hopefully putting a belt to ass to a terrible team in Sam Houston. Let's enjoy it. Make sure you guys stay tuned for all of our content. We should be live after Saturday, after the game. It's a night game, so we'll be on pretty late. So make sure you guys are stay up for that. Appreciate you guys all for watching. Per usual, have a good day and hook 'em.
Hook 'em.